I'm just being asked that during the Mangalarti the people dance, which is good, and that's why people change the tune we're hearing, that to encourage the dancers. No. And some of the things, dancing is a whole separate seminar, but no, you don't have to change the tune because the dancers need to. Prabhupada's system of kirtan by the way was very simple. He would start slow, very slow, then he would get speed up, gradually speed up, gradually speed up, and then he would end. It gives enough scope for the dancers. So now we'll talk about some particulars of Iskcon kirtans, starting with what I call the deity ditties, that is, little jingles about the deities. Jai Radha something something, Radha something something, Radhe. That's how you get your Radhes in. There is a song, it's in the original Vaishnav, Iskcon BBT Vaishnav songbook, about the deities of Vrindavan, Radha Damodar, Radhe, Jiva Goswami, Prandanahe, and so on. And it's an authorized song, and I never heard Prabhupada sing it, but it's an authorized song. And in New Vrindavan, the devotees started chanting Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radhe. They asked Prabhupada if that was all right. Prabhupada said it was all right. Well, now it's not only all right, but it's de rigueur. You've got to do it, or everybody looks at you like you hate the deities. They're not only at the end of the kirtan, they're at the middle of the kirtan. Vrindavan, I was just there, it's like they finish Vibhavari Shesha, then it's Jai Radha Shamsundar, and so on and so on. Then there's Hare Krishna, then there's more of Jai Radha Shamsundar, Jai Krishna Balaram. The Jai somethings have all become like a staple of Iskcon kirtan. Although it wasn't introduced by Prabhupada, he didn't ask for it. But there it is. It's like, and all of this means, this is 25 minutes Mangalarti. So this much for the samsara prayers, then an increasing amount for the deity jingles. And, Hare Krishna gets to be pretty thin. And that also, 5 tunes so that the devotees can dance and not get bored. Sometimes we even hear these deity things in the middle of the Gravastakam. It gets, or after the Jai Radha Madhava and the Bhagavatam class, after the Tulsi prayers, after the Nrsimha Arti, it's all got to be Jaya deities, Jaya deities. Just wasn't introduced by Srila Prabhupada. And they also often lead to, after, where you're going to go after Jai Radhe, Radha Shamsundar, well then it's got to be Jai Radhe, which Prabhupada disapproved of. Another change, then another change, and another change. Where else can this lead? I'll tell you where it can lead. Here's some examples of things I've heard in kirtan. There's a temple in the Middle East where they have deities whose names are Radha Krishna. It's not Radha Damodar, it's Radha Krishna. So, Jai Radha, Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. Radhe. I was in Los Angeles and I heard a very respectable sannyasi chanting Radha Rukmini Dwarkadish, Radha Rukmini Dwarkadish, Radhe, which is not only, which is Rasabhas. One time, when they were naming the deities, Jayadvaita Prabhu, who was the GBC man at the time, I think, asked Prabhupada what to name the deities, what they could name the deities, and Prabhupada said, "Oh, you can call him Dwarkadish," because it was New Dwarka already. He said you could call him Dwarkadish, and he asked Radha Dwarkadish. He said Prabhupada got like a very long face. Radha has no scope for Dwarkadish. So Radha and Dwarkadish don't mix. But because it's the Iskcon standard that it's got to be Radha something something, so Radha Rukmini Dwarkadish, which is, like sweet rice with apple chutney in it. It's just wrong. And how many times have you seen at a kirtan that at the end the kirtan leader leans over to someone to find out what the deity's name is, right? So, because you're supposed to chant the deity's names. I even heard someone say in response to an earlier seminar I gave that we chant the names of the deities because we're personalists. We're personalists, so that's why we chant these names. Okay, but I don't think Prabhupada was less of a personalist than we are, and he didn't. I've heard reported from South Africa, Jai Radha Jagannatha Radha Jagannatha. I've heard in, again, the Middle East, because it's all which deities you have on your altar, right? So, Jai Ladu, Jai Radha Ladu Gopal, Radha Ladu Gopal. It's gone from what can you say, from bad to worse to absurd to, who knows? And it's all because there's this, formula that you're supposed to. You're not just supposed to, it's like standing naked. If you end the kirtan, just chanting Hare Krishna and then stop, it's like your dhoti just fell or something. You just can't do that. But that's what Prabhupada said to do. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else. Maharaj.
In the Hare Krishna maha-mantra, everything's there.
Everything's there in the maha-mantra. All mantras and understandings, there's a Shastric quote like that. Everything's in the maha-mantra. Prabhupada did everything with the maha-mantra. But we have to chant so many things. Yes, Abhijit Prabhu.
So, did Prabhupada also not chant Jai Nishingadev after Nishingadev prayers? He just ended with the verse?
Yeah, he just chanted the... yeah, and he repeated it a couple times. Jaya Jagadish, Hare Jagadish. That's what he did. You can hear it. In fact, he's teaching the devotees. There's a recording. I don't have the... you have the recording. Prabhupada's teaching the devotees the first time how to chant these prayers in Los Angeles. And you can hear how he does it. And there's no Jaya Nrsingadev, Jaya, it's just not there. I'm not saying, you can't chant Jaya Nrsingadev, but no, the straight answer to your question is he didn't. Then we come to Gaur Nitai, so, because you've got a formula, so it's like, Jai Nitai Gaura Hari, Nitai Gaura Hari, Gaura Hari. Just taking the template and Gaur Nitaiing it. And you've got a new mantra. Hare Krishna. I've heard Jaya Shala Grama, Jaya Shala Grama, Jaya. And then this is quite common. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannath. And then every kind of combination you can think of, how to, move them around for variety. I have a reliable source in Brazil who says that he was told that a very senior devotee told us that every time you chant Jai Jagannath, you have to chant Jaya Sudarshana, Jaya Sudarshana, because the Sudarshan chakra is also there with Jagannath, installed. So you have to chant. Otherwise, you're like committing a Sudarshan aparad because you didn't. And then finally, we have the new Panchatattva mantra. What's the old Panchatattva mantra? Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. What's the new Panchatattva mantra? Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Why do we chant this? Because it fits in the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da template. And because you're supposed to chant the names of the deities. Right? You have to, because we're personalists, you have to chant the names of the deities. But in this case, we're not going to chant their names because it takes too long or something. So we're going to chant Jaya Panchatattva. Instead of what Prabhupada said, these 5 names, we quoted earlier, right? Prabhupada said that, they chant Nitai Gaur Radhesham. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. He said that these 5, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. But since we have the Panchatattva deities installed, we don't chant their names. We do, but then for a reprise to go back, we chant Jaya Panchatattva. What is that mantra? Where did it come from? Who said chant Jaya Panchatattva? But it just makes sense that if you chant the deities' names and you're chanting Jai Radha Madhava, then you have to chant Jai Panchatattva then. So it goes from one notion to the next, to the next, to the next. And now it's like standard. You got to, it's like nobody even blinks if you chant Jai Panchatattva. But what is that? Prabhupada said, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. But we have all these other things. Hare Krishna. Any question?
Maharaj, in Gaurarti, there is also mentioned many things added in there because there is no mention. So this is correct or in Gaurarti. So the devotee add many things.
Devotees add many things, especially in Bengal, where it's more or less a tradition to do that. And Prabhupada added one, Jagamana, what is that? Jagajanamana Lobha. Prabhupada himself did that one. I don't know any other one that he did. I think just that one. I'm not even going to start that campaign here in Mayapur. If we can just maybe get back to Hare Krishna, I will be so happy. Instead of Jai everybody. I mean, there's unlimited forms of Vishnu. And that's also another thing happens now. That it used to be, now you got to chant the names of the deities in the temple. Now you chant the names of the deities in your temple. If there's another temple nearby, you chant their names. Then you chant the names of the deities that are your favorites, like if you're in New York, but you're really a fan of Radha Shamsundar and so on, you chant their names, and Krishna Balaram, and so on. So it's like the deities in whose temple you are, and then the deities who are your favorites, or else to keep peace in the world, the deities nearby in another potentially competing temple where you want to have friendly relationships, so you chant everybody's names so that no deities will be left out. We want to have a unified society. So it becomes deities upon deities upon deities. Jai Radhe.
After the ending of the kirtan, during Prema Dhwani, people say, Srila Prabhupada's transcendental book distribution, Ki Jai. There's a lot of additions.
You can come to the Premadhwani, I think, by the by, but yeah, the Premadhwani is a big opportunity.
Even if you stop after Hare Krishna, people look so strange and they will start singing Jai Jai, Jai Rama.
Who will?
No, I had a very bad experience with that.
You had a bad experience. What happened?
So when we were
Tell us about your trouble. What happened?
after singing Hare Krishna,
You were chanting Hare Krishna in the Mangalarti. You were leading. Hmm.
stopped after Hare Krishna
Mm.
and Prema Dhwani we have to start.
Mm.
But there when I stopped, they looked very strange and they started telling the deities' names.
Yeah. See, this is my point. That's why I said at the beginning, the one modest objective of this seminar is to make the world safe for people who somehow or other think they ought to do it the way Prabhupada did it. Things have gotten so bad that not only do I have to chant all these names and mantras and other things that have been added on, but if somebody else doesn't do it, then I have to jump in and say, like, Baba, what's wrong with you, Are you an impersonalist or something? And jump all over him, or just, set him straight by taking over and chanting the necessary deity mantras that have been introduced into Iskcon from the ether. So anyway, this is our modest attempt to try to help. So that honest fellows like you won't have to have such bad experiences. Is there another question at this point? Mataji has a question.
Thank you, Maharaj. This is extremely important because you mentioned this purity is gonna go through the next generations. And we could see clearly the new generations already doing all these mistakes. Our 2, 3, 4 years old already singing all these things. And it seems we need a real help, something really practical to improve this. Maybe, I don't know, sorry to ask this question, maybe we could have some authority, kirtan authority, because we all know in advance who is going to lead the next kirtan. Maybe the leader could have a little meeting with this kirtan commander or something, and they could have, this is the standard, Prabhu, please follow it.
Yeah. It would be nice, I think, for temples to know what the standard is, and then to teach, people don't even know. Let's not start with, they break the standard. Nobody knows even. Sakalaneha mahata yoganashtapa prantapa. And as you said, it hasn't taken thousands of years since the time of Vivashan. It's, within 50 years, people don't even know the standards of kirtan. And I'm not speaking about, like some sort of esoteric standards. The basic things that Prabhupada taught are largely unknown. The idea that Prabhupada didn't chant the names of the deities is he didn't? And maybe why not? He didn't want us chanting Jai Radhe. You're not supposed to, you're supposed to chant the morning tune. What's the morning tune? All just the knowledge itself has largely dissipated. So the first thing is just to present this information, which I'm trying to do. And it's known, these are not terribly secret teachings, but they're somehow seems to have become lost. So the first thing is to know them, for the temple leaders to know them, temple president to know them, GBC man to know them, temple president, kirtan leaders. And then you make it a standard that here are, they did that here in Mayapur with this Hare Nama Krishna. It was, first they weren't chanting at all. Then they got into, okay, we're supposed to chant, and they started chanting the whole, all 4 lines. And actually, I'm so impressed that they actually got it right. They finally brought it down by heavy enforcement to 2 lines. Only occasionally do you hear more than 2. So it's possible. Things can be set straight. But it takes, to keep things as they are, takes a lot of effort. Maintenance. That's why Vishnu himself takes charge of maintenance. So, how exactly that should be done, I'm not going to stick my face in the management, but it starts with at least knowing. And whether you're a manager or not, the more devotees know the standard, the better off we are. Maharaj, you wanted to say something?
I was talking to Jayadvaita Maharaj another day that my travelings, I can see that the devotees, with many wonderful Vaishnavas, wonderful bhajan and kirtan, but the tendency is not to listen to Prabhupada anymore. Prabhupada's bhajan, Prabhupada's kirtans. Therefore, like you said, Maharaj, basically they don't know what the Prabhupada's style actually. It's for me something really, now I feel really shocked about it. In many, many temples, in the receptions, in the etc., they listen wonderful bhajan leaded by the Vaishnavas, but not Prabhupada. Therefore, how? Yet know how Srila Prabhupada used to sing his kirtans and bhajans. It's something quite serious, I think.
What they know is like a 90-second loop of the kirtan machine. Right? They have a kirtan japa machine consisting of a speaker and a button and a chip, and there's a little clip of Prabhupada chanting for whatever it is, 90 seconds, japa, and flip it again, and it's 90 seconds of kirtan, and that's Prabhupada's kirtan. And there's so many other kirtans of Srila Prabhupada that's simply not heard. So, everybody's listening to Prabhupada, but they're listening to the same 90 seconds. Yeah. Something else.
Maharaj, usually kirtans end with IC. So, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. If they are eliminating the deity names, but they mandatorily sing Jaya Prabhupada, whether it's correct or not.
Chanting Jai Prabhupada we did in Prabhupada's time, in Prabhupada's presence. He's our founder Acharya. I don't see any objection, any reason not to, and there are lots of reasons we can. So it's very fine. Especially in the Guru Puja Kirtan, which, as I said, is not really Guru Puja, it's Prabhupada Puja. That's when our whole community comes together, whoever your Guru is, and we all glorify our founder Acharya. So chanting Jai Prabhupada is quite appropriate. But but then it's elsewhere. Like, for example, we chant Gurvastakam in the morning, and then right after that, Jai Prabhupada. As if the Gurvastakam is just chanted for Prabhupada, which I humbly submit it's not. It's the Gurvastakam, the Guru Ashtakam, it's for the Guru. And your Guru might be Prabhupada, or it might be Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, or it might be Radhanath Maharaj, or it might be Govinda Maharaj, or Indradumna Maharaj, or Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj, or Shivaram Maharaj, or Bhakti Char Maharaj, or Jayapataka Maharaj, or any one of our initiating Gurus. or even some of our Iskcon members are initiated by respectable people outside of Iskcon. Very few are in that situation. But anyway, lots of us, probably the majority of devotees these days, are not initiated directly by Srila Prabhupada, unless you come from Bangalore, where everybody's initiated from Srila Prabhupada for the next 10,000 years. Leaving that aside, in Iskcon, most are Prabhupada's grand disciples. And therefore, how much thought goes into this when we chant the Gurvastakam and then right after that, the Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. It seems to say that Prabhupada is your guru, that this song applies to Prabhupada only, and therefore naturally we chant Jai Prabhupada after the Gurvastakam. Now, I have no problem if grand disciples of Prabhupada during the Gurvastakam think of Prabhupada. It's fine. He is their guru, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is also the guru of all of us, and Rupa Goswami and many others, and especially Prabhupada's our founder Acharya. So I have no, if devotees think of Prabhupada during the Gurvastakam, then it's fine. But what if someone thinks of his guru? What if during the Gurvastakam, a devotee is actually meditating on his guru? Is that bad? Is he off track? Is he philosophically deviant? Is he not in sync with the understanding that we have in Iskcon? Are we crypto-ritvics? We're really under the, it doesn't really kind of matter. Yeah, we know everyone's initiated by, but really everyone's Prabhupada's disciple? And no one else's? So you finish the Gurvastakam and then you introduce, Jai Prabhupada. Or because you recognize that it's, that it's not just for Prabhupada, then you have to chant Jai Gurudev. So that's where that comes in. Now that we chanted Jai Prabhupada, and wait a second, not everyone's Prabhupada's disciple, so now you've got to chant Jai Gurudev, so that people can not feel that their guru has been left out. So you start with Jai Prabhupada and then you go to Jai Gurudev. Unfortunately, Prabhupada considered Jai Gurudev impersonal. So because you introduced one thing, now you have to introduce another thing. And so it goes. And maybe that's not so objectionable, but then you get even in the middle of Gurvastakam. How many have heard Jai Prabhupada chanted in the middle of Gurvastakam? Okay, we have some, come on, be honest. How many have heard it? Okay, it's not unknown. That, after like 4 verses of Gurvastakam, then we chant Jai Prabhupada. Because this is the Prabhupada song. It's not the Guru song, which we heard Prabhupada call it. No, that was Sri Guru Charanapada. But anyway, it's not the Guru song. It's the Prabhupada song. And I've heard people insist that it is too the Prabhupada song. And anyone who says it's not the Prabhupada song is like, a pariah or something. Something's wrong with him. It is the Prabhupada song. When did it become the Prabhupada song? Down the street, they chanted for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, or for whoever their gurus are now. It wasn't composed by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur for our Srila Prabhupada. When did it become the Prabhupada song instead of the Guru song? It's not Prabhupada Ashtakam, it's Guru Ashtakam. And there's nothing wrong with devotees during the Gurvastakam thinking that this is about my guru. And when devotees are thinking that way, and in the middle you break out into your Jai Prabhupads, you're interrupting their meditation needlessly. That is the complaint that I would submit. Are there any questions about that? Yes.
Maharaj, I fully humbly accept what you mentioned, but I just would like to paint a scenario. Possibly when Prabhupada was there, all the disciples were all, for them, Prabhupada was their guru. So he kind of agreed for his name to be chanted, Srila Prabhupada. But today what's happening is when we have a Guru Ashtaka being sung, in the audience there are people who have different gurus. So it's not possible to take all the gurus' names. So in this scenario, chanting Srila Prabhupada's name and then after that following it up with Gurudev, won't it be considered that it's being a, for want of a better word, being a placeholder for people to think of their respective guru while chanting Gurudev at that point?
Yeah, I guess that's the thought process. That we chant Jai Prabhupada because Prabhupada is the guru of everyone, and then we chant Jai Gurudev as a kind of a token representing all the gurus, and that all makes perfect sense. I think that's probably an accurate description of what's going on. But why do we need to do that? Why is that better than just chanting the Gravastakam and getting on with it? Why is that better than Samsaradava, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else? You know, by putting in the Jai Gurudev, we solve a problem. But the problem doesn't need to be there. If we do what Prabhupada instructed Harikesh to begin with, you don't have that problem. And if you don't, you do have this problem. Well, it's a placeholder because we can't chant everybody's guru's names, so we have an impersonal placeholder there. And I get the logic, it makes sense, but do we need to go on logic, or are we better off going by what Prabhupada said to do? Right? Yes.
So Maharaj, you wouldn't chant Prabhupada's pranaam after the samsara prayers?
I wouldn't chant Prabhupada's pranam after the samsara prayers. That's the next question. Well, to answer that question, let us start here before we talk about what I might or might not risk my life doing or not doing. Prabhupada chanted Samsara Dava, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, and nothing else. In the evening, Prabhupada chanted the whole Mangalacharana. Every time. I was with Prabhupada, we used to have kirtan in the evening, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 26 2nd Avenue. And when Prabhupada was there, I'm not talking about the original days, because I wasn't there then, but like 1968 and onward, 1968, 69, and so on. I guess 68, 69 after that. But he would personally lead the evening kirtan, and that's what he would do, the whole Mangalacharana, top to bottom. And then he would chant, or bottom to top, really, start to finish. Then he would chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, and nothing else. And the morning, you can hear the recordings. He chanted Gurvastakam, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else. That's what Prabhupada did. Therefore, if one does that, one is not doing something different from what our founder Acharya did. That's what he did. Sri Krishna, Samsara Dava, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else. That's what he did. And I know at least one brave soul, my godbrother Kurma Prabhu, who does exactly that. That's how he leads Mangal Arati Kirtan. Now I chant Prabhupada's pranaam mantra because I've already got enough bricks being thrown at me. And, I don't love Prabhupada and all of that. So I have to put on a good, put my suit and tie on. But therefore, as I've said before, philosophically or in terms of the tradition or Prabhupada's instructions, there's nothing wrong with just Samsara Dava, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else. But if you try that in Iskcon these days, they'll probably bite your head off. And Prabhupada is the founder Acharya of Iskcon. And so if you chant Prabhupada's pranam mantra after the Gravastakam, I don't see anything objectionable about it, and that's what I do, at least in public. But there's something else that's done, which I think is, again, not carefully thought about. We do things, and there's a reason, but it's not exactly following what Prabhupada did, and it's perhaps not carefully thought out. So, yes, we chant Gravastakam, then we chant Prabhupada's pranam mantra, then Sri Krishna Chaitanya. But sometimes we hear that they start the Mangal Arati with Prabhupada's pranam mantra. Who's heard that? Common, right? Well, what's happening here? What's happening, if you're not one of my godbrothers or godsisters, is that first you're chanting the pranam mantra to your guru's spiritual master. And then you're leading the Mangal Arati. And what happened to your guru? Are we jumping over? Now, there are reasons why the kirtan leader doesn't chant the mantra for his guru. There was a time in Iskcon when, even if he wasn't your guru, you had to chant his mantra. You could be a godbrother, but you had to show everyone else, and so you'd better chant his mantra. And it got so oppressive and so intolerable that finally all that went out the window. And the result is that all of those people who were chanting their guru's mantra now don't chant any mantra. Or, that is to say, they chant Prabhupada's mantra because we don't really, we're like shy of this. We don't want to hear anyone else's mantra in the kirtan. So even though the kirtan leader properly might offer obeisances first to his guru in some way, we don't do that. And I understand it, because of the cultural sensitivities and the history that goes with it of Iskcon. We don't do that. So you're not going to hear Jayadvaita Maharaj's pranam mantra or Bhaktichara Maharaj's mantra or, Shivaram Maharaj's mantra or Niranjan Maharaj's mantra or anyone else's mantra. You're going to hear Prabhupada's. I get it. And I have nothing to argue about it. But still you have this situation where people are chanting Prabhupada's mantra first. So, my disciple is beginning the kirtan by offering obeisances to his spiritual master. Or Tulsi here, he's going to offer obeisances to his spiritual master's spiritual master. Now that's really, when you think about it, not quite right, according to the tradition. the tradition is that first, before you do anything, you offer your respects to your spiritual master. So Sukadeva Goswami begins. He's asked these questions by the sages, and before he goes anywhere else, Yam pravrajantam anapeta peta krityam dvaipayano virhakatara ajuhava putreti tanmayatayo taravo binudas tam vyasasunam upayami guru munina. He offers his obeisances to his spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami, in 2 verses. Then he offers his obeisances to Narayan and to Saraswati and so on. Then he begins, then Muniya Saduprishtoham. Then he answers the questions. But first he offers obeisances to his spiritual master. That's the ancient traditional system. That before speaking, before leading kirtan, before we do anything, we offer obeisances to our spiritual master. So now what to do? You've got this Iskcon with its history and its sensitivities and its multiple gurus and multiple disciples of multiple gurus. So my humble suggestion would be, if you're going to chant a pranaam mantra, such as Prabhupada, not such as, if you're going to chant Prabhupada's pranaam mantra, first chant Gurvastakam, and then chant Prabhupada's mantra, with the understanding that the Gurvastakam is for your guru, or your guru and Prabhupada, if you want to think that way. But that by chanting Gurvastakam, I'm offering obeisances to my guru, then his guru. It's not quite the same as chanting your guru's mantra, but given the society we live in and its history and its the feelings of all the participants, that would work. An alternative would be Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave. Again, which guru, but maybe because of our history we won't ask that question. My point on this is, why Prabhupada's mantra before Guru Vastakam? Make it after Guru Vastakam, so that you can properly, you and all the other people, which is like in most situations anywhere between 90 to 100% of the devotees who are not directly Prabhupada's disciples, can first offer obeisances to their guru, and then to his guru, our founder Acharya. That is my point. This has been misrepresented by some clever and, some people who, for reasons of their own, took a tiny clip out of something I said in another seminar in such a way as to create the impression that I'm against chanting Prabhupada's pranam mantra, to the point where I've had very sincere godbrothers and other devotees ask me, that is it true that, and so on and so on and so on. Thank you very much to whoever's idea that was and whoever was inspired in that way. But anyway, the simple point I was making is that first we should offer our obeisances to our Guru, then to Prabhupada, and therefore Prabhupada's pranam mantra should be after the Gurvastakam, not before. And to add the most, as far out as I went, that if you didn't chant Prabhupada's pranam mantra, you would not be philosophically wrong, because Prabhupada didn't chant the mantra to his guru either. Those were the points that I made. Yes?
Does the same apply to
I never talking about the morning prayers, but then for Gaura Arsi, before Gaura Arsi, we do the Navam.
Mm. Yeah, you have the Gaur Arti where there is no Gurvastikam. What do you do there? If I were the kirtan leader, I would probably chant Om Ajnanatimirandasya first. Unless I was very brave and I thought I might chant my Guru Maharaj's mantra first, just on my own. That's what I would do, because my thinking would be that it's my duty to offer my respects to my Guru before I begin the kirtan. So I would either chant my Guru's mantra, and if other people have a problem with it, too bad. I'm not asking you to chant it, but I'm his disciple, give me a break. So I'm going to chant his mantra, and you tolerate for, 30 seconds it'll take, and then we'll get on with it after I've done my duty. Or if that's against the present Iskcon laws, I don't know whether it is or not, to tell you the truth. But if the GBC has decided that that's not acceptable under the present circumstances, then Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana. That's what I would do under those circumstances. Someone else might have a different approach, I don't know, but that's how I think I would handle it. The question doesn't face me, of course, but because it's, I can chant Prabhupada's mantra, but for others, yes.
Maharaj, you spoke about the problematic that comes when we chant Prabhupada's pranaam, and we are initiated by, for example, a disciple of Prabhupada, and in this way we jump over our own Guru and directly worship our Param Guru. But what if we take it in the way, like we hear in Iskcon, that Prabhupada is not only my Param Guru, but he's my Shiksha Guru, through whom I came to my Guru. That if I chant his mantra in this way, that it is proper to then proceed to the...
And what happened to my Diksha Guru? Where did he go in all this? I accept it. Prabhupada is everyone's Shiksha Guru. And who's my Diksha Guru? Is he just a kind of an official? Is he just the person who gave me the mantra? Is he just the person who kind of got me into the sampradaya? And then that's kind of it? Because really Prabhupada's the Guru of everyone? Is that who my Guru is? My Diksha Guru? That he just kind of did a ceremony for me on behalf of Iskcon so that I could become Prabhupada's disciple? That doesn't sound too different from something I hear in certain places in South India, does it? Now, again, if Prabhupada's pranam is in the Mangalarti Kirtan after the samsara, I get it. He's our founder acharya, and everybody has a relationship with him. And if that goes on for the next 10,000 years, I'm not even going to complain for the next 2. All I'm saying is don't cut out your Diksha Guru as if he were just, an officiating priest, because then you're doing violence to the philosophy. We should honor Prabhupada. We should afford Prabhupada all the respect and glorification due to the founder acharya of this movement, in recognition of his unique position and recognizing that without him nothing would have happened, that we're all reading his books, that we're all living by his mercy. All of this should be acknowledged and respected and worshipped, but not that in the process I reduce my initiating spiritual master to a mere functionary. Unless you think you can do that without damaging, without basically tossing out the very teachings of the person that you want to honor. Follow? That's the problem, that in the name of honoring Prabhupada, and that's what we see in certain newer approaches to Gaudiya Vaishnavism, that in the name of honoring Prabhupada, they toss out his philosophy, or chisel out a big piece of it. Our philosophy is problematic. I mean, it really gets in the way. It would be so much easier if everybody could just be Prabhupada's disciple, and then you'd have, absolute unity and absolute infallibility, and, it would just solve every problem you can think of. It would be just so great. The only problem is that to accomplish that, you have to gut the philosophy. You have to stick a knife into what he taught. Otherwise, it would be so good. It just happens to be totally contrary to what our sampradaya has taught since time immemorial. That's the problem with it. And so we face the task of living in a society of followers of Prabhupada, generations of followers of Prabhupada it will be, and the task of how to honor Prabhupada throughout all of these generations, while at the same time not trivializing the relationship between the disciple and his own spiritual master. That's the task at hand. Yes?
Is the Jayadvaita Prabhupada and Jayadvaita Gurudev is the holy name? Because yesterday I listened to Bhagwan class. When someone at the end of his life, when he chanted Jayadvaita Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he also can go to the back to his Godhead.
Is the name of Prabhupada or Gurudev as good as the chanting of the holy name, or identical with the chanting of the holy name? No, it's better. The Prabhupada used to quote Madbhakta Puja Vyadika. Anyway, the teaching is that the devotee is higher than Krishna. So it's not that, well, if you think of Krishna at the time of death, you go back to Godhead, and if you think of your guru, you come back to the material world. Or if you think of Prabhupada, you come back to the material world. They're all together. We don't think of Prabhupada separately from Krishna. We don't think of our gurus separately from Krishna. We don't think of our gurus separately from Srila Prabhupada. They're all together. So if you think of any one of them, you have your ticket. Is that okay? There was another question. Yes. Abhijit Prabhu.
Maharaj, you made the point that Prabhupada, when he heard Jai Gurudev, he said not to do it because it's impersonalist.
Yes.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Isn't Samsara Davanel a giant Jai Gurudev?
Yeah, Jai Gurudev is certainly, as we heard, impersonal. Yes, you could say that Guruvastakam Bande Guru Sri Charanadavindam. You could say, well, who is that guru? Yes. And therefore, I might recommend that before chanting the Guruvastakam or after chanting the Guruvastakam, one chant the mantra to one's own guru, except that we have social constraints on what we do because we're not alone, or we're not with our own God brothers only. And therefore, we say, well, we're not going to do that. In addition to which, Prabhupada simply didn't do it. He just chanted Guruvastakam Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, and so on. You can say, well, that's impersonal, but then finally it comes down to, well, it's not logic. You know, if we say Jai Gurudev is impersonal, no, it's not impersonal, it's my Guru. I mean, you know, Shivaram Swami when I chant Jai Gurudev. It's perfectly, you know, why is it impersonal? I know who I'm chanting to. But why is it impersonal? Because Prabhupada said it's impersonal. It's not logic, it's authority. Prabhupada didn't like it, that's all. Only for that reason. Otherwise, I could make you, you know, very good logical arguments why it's perfectly good, or why, if Gurvastakam is good, Jai Gurudev should be good, or why if Jai Gurudev is not acceptable, how could we be chanting Gurvastakam without being impersonal? The logical chains can all be very nicely put in place, but we're not working on logic. We're working on what our acharyas said to do. Even, you know, again, why not Jai Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman? It's logical. There they are on the altar. We're glorifying them. These are their holy names. Ram is always with Sita. Sitaram are always with Lakshman and Hanuman. What's the problem? Problem is that it's not coming in the sampradaya. It doesn't have authority from the parampara system, and therefore nishpalamata. Logically, no problem. No problem whatsoever. But it's not received. And our method is reception. It's not an ascending process that we figure out what might be bona fide, what could be bona fide, what works because, or anything like that. What's come down from the acharyas? What's come down? Otherwise, you know, Devaki Nandana Gopala, what's wrong with that, really? Well, it comes from the Ginsburg Sampradaya, and not from the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Otherwise, by logic, Krishna is Devaki Nandana. Devaki Nandana is the name of Bhagavan. All the names of Bhagavan are pure and holy and liberating, so there's nothing wrong with Devaki Nandana Gopala. It's perfectly good. Except Nishpalamata. It's not coming through the sampradaya, and therefore it's considered useless.
Hare Krishna. Since we are discussing about chanting Gurvastaka prayers in the morning time and offering respect to our one Guru and Prabhupada. So, and mostly we are all sitting here, Iskcon devotees who are residing in the temple. So my question is in regard to the grahasthas who are doing Mangalarti prayer at home in the morning time, not necessarily in the temple. So when we recommend them, can we say like, okay, maybe you can start with the Guru Pranaam mantra, then start Gurvastakam prayers, and just to offer respect to Prabhupada, and we are in the Prabhupada's family, so that we remember the contribution of Prabhupada and our alignment to the line of authority, then chant Prabhupada's pranam, and then...
They can do that. They don't have to, because Prabhupada didn't, he was Samsaradava, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Hare Krishna, nothing else. But if they chant their Guru's mantra at home, no problem. Even, you know, if there's a meeting, you have a meeting of all of Jayapataka Maharaj's disciples, or Bhakti Chara Maharaj's disciples, or Chandramoli Maharaj's disciples, or Radhanath Maharaj's disciples, and they have a kirtan and they chant Radhanath Maharaj's pranam mantra. What's wrong there? He's the guru of all of them, and it's perfectly fine. And there should be occasions when that's who's there, you know, only the disciples of a particular guru, they have their own community, and they can, you know, without injuring anyone else's feelings or having to take anyone else's feelings into account, they can glorify their guru together. It's perfectly good. There's nothing wrong with that. It only comes, you know, issues come when other people have to be taken into account who aren't in your same situation, don't see your guru the same way you see your guru, because they come from a different part of the tree. But if you're at home, or you're with your god brothers and god sisters, Hare Krishna. It's up to you. I've seen even, like fire sacrifices performed where they're chanting the Sampradaya mantras, Namo Vishnupadaya, and they start with Prabhupada. They're initiating a disciple, so the priest is performing the ceremony, initiating the disciple, and he skips over the mantra to the person who's the initiator of that disciple, who's going to be initiated. It's just not thinking. Wait a second, maybe at the temple ceremonies we start with Prabhupada, but you're initiating, Radhanath Maharaj's disciple. Why aren't you chanting Radhanath Maharaj's pranaam mantra first? Right? You're skipping over. That's what Prabhupada called jumping over. Not that because Prabhupada's the founder Acharya, when you initiate a disciple, you start with his mantra. Prabhupada, when he initiated disciples, started with his own mantra. Because he has to teach what you're supposed to do. Your guru is not to be excluded. We make adjustments when we're in a larger community, a larger society, for accommodating everyone in harmony. But it's not that to do that we just extract the guru because he gets in the way of unity and harmony and Prabhupada's preeminent position. For the same reason that George Washington is not going to be honored today as the President of the United States. He was the first. Or Mahatma Gandhi, he's the father of the nation. But he's not the present Prime Minister. And it's not that for that reason his picture shouldn't be on all the bills. I don't want to get into deep mundane comparisons, prime ministers and so on. Prabhupada's in a super exalted position, and especially in relationship to Iskcon. But it doesn't mean that we can just pull out or trivialize the relationship between the guru and the disciple, or just say, well, Diksha somehow doesn't count. In Caitanya-charitamrita it said, Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru are one entity, one undivided truth. And these things need to be carefully thought about. Yes?
In between if the Prabhupada mantra is said, and then there's Panchatattva mantra, there's the Namaste Saraswati Devi one.
Yeah, Prabhupada's two mantras. Yeah, so why the second one? Prabhupada actually wrote the second one because we were too dumb to do it ourselves. Yeah. What does it mean? How is it translated? Is that what you're asking? Namaste, I offer my respectful obeisances to you. Saraswati Devi, the servant of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Gauravani Pracharane, who are preaching the message of Gaura, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gauravani, Vani means his message. Pracharane, preaching. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarane. Tarane means delivering. Delivering Paschatya Desha, the Western countries. Paschatya Desha. Desha means country. Paschatya Desha, the Western countries. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, which are full of Nirvisheshvad and Shunyavad. Nirvisheshvad means impersonalism, as taught by Shankaracharya. Everything is one, the absolute truth is one, impersonal entity, no name, no form, no qualities, no nothing. And Shunyavad. Shunyavad means Buddhist philosophy, voidism. So Prabhupada is delivering these Western countries which are full of impersonalism and voidism, teaching that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada, our Prabhupada. Saraswati Deve means, it's Saraswati and then Saraswati. So the long vowel means servant of Saraswati. Just like Vasudev is Krishna's father, and Vasudev, the son of Vasudev. So the son or disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That means our Prabhupada. Yes?
This is in Mangala Chant, there's a different pranaam mantra, the Deity pranaam mantra, the particular Deity pranaam mantra we have in Mangala Chant. So sometimes I see devotee when they do pranam, obeisances, the recite just Guru pranam mantra. So I just want to know how much appropriate is it?
I don't think I followed your question. Could you ask again?
In our Mangala Chant.
In Mangala Chant?
Yes. So have different Deity pranam mantra.
Did Jayatam Surato Pangor? Yes. Hold on 1 second. You're okay.
So Radha Krishna pranam mantra, Panchatattva pranam mantra. But sometimes I see devotee when they pay obeisances, they recite their own Guru pranam mantra. So
sometimes devotees, I can tell you that back in like 1968 when I joined, devotees would meet one another and a devotee would bow down to the other devotee, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti. Really, that's how it was back then. They didn't know Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha. Everybody would, for every purpose, they would chant Prabhupada's pranam mantra. So, before the deity, one may, of course, I don't want to, again, be like the prescriber, that I sit here and I tell you, this is the right thing to do, that's the right thing to do, this is the right thing to do, without having heard directly some instruction on the matter from Srila Prabhupada. My understanding would be that if someone's coming into the temple and chanting Prabhupada's mantra, that means they're understanding that I approach Panchatattva or Radha Madhav or Lord Nrsingadev through my Guru Maharaj or through Prabhupada. They may have that understanding. Otherwise, you can bow down before Radha Madhav and chant Jayatam Surato Pangor and so on. I don't have anything particular to say about it, I think. I don't have any authoritative word to give you. Is that okay?
Maharaj, when we worship Prabhupada during Guru Puja in the morning, me as a disciple of Prabhupada's disciple, should I first pay respects to my Guru? Before I worship Prabhupada? Like, let's say I chant
I see. Should you chant your Guru Maharaj's mantra at Prabhupada's Guru Puja?
It doesn't have to be loud. I'm just saying philosophically. Can I worship Prabhupada?
Of course, your understanding should be there. That's the first thing. That I'm worshipping Prabhupada by the grace of my Guru. That's the first thing. The understanding has to be right. There are those who don't even have the understanding right. But that's the first thing, that by the grace of my Guru, I've come in touch with Prabhupada, or I'm linked up to Prabhupada, so I'm the servant of the servant. If you were there, Prabhupada would say, who's this man? Oh, he's Gopal Krishna Maharaj's disciple. Oh, very good. Otherwise, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Right? So, in that way, your understanding should be right, that I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That's the first thing. Otherwise, whatever you chant, it doesn't matter. You're in the wrong place. That's the first thing. Now, as far as what I might chant, I might think, well, at Mangalarti, I chanted Gravastakam, now I'm worshipping Prabhupada. That you might think. Or I think there are places perhaps where first they worship their guru and then they do the guru puja for Srila Prabhupada. I know in Mayapur for many years they were doing that, Jayadvaita Maharaj's disciples. I don't know if they're still doing. They were doing the guru puja for their Guru Maharaj, and then they would go to Prabhupada's guru puja. Nothing wrong with that. You know, people say, who does he think he is? No, it's evam parampara praptam. It's not wrong. Is that okay? Yes.
Is there any standard for evening kirtan tunes also?
Is there a standard for the evening kirtan tune? I don't really know of any standards. Not the morning tune, that's the first standard. I know that Prabhupada liked that one tune. What is that?
Bajayo Jaya Goda Chande.
Jaya Jaya Goda Chande Aroti Kesho. A very traditional Bengali tune, and Prabhupada liked it. It's not the only tune. It's not like you have to chant that tune, but Prabhupada, that was a tune that Prabhupada very much liked. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, or another tune.
Variations are allowed in that?
That's why I said I don't know of any restrictions on the evening tune. Prabhupada chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. That's perfectly good. I might say, by the way, there are many beautiful Bengali kirtan tunes, and it's like lost in Iskcon today. Used to be that you would come to Mayapur and you would hear this beautiful Bengali kirtan with leaders like Murari Hari and other devotees. And Prabhupada said this is a special contribution of Bengal, is this Bengali kirtan, of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, this Bengali kirtan. You used to come here to our Iskcon Mayapur and you would hear that. Then it became that you hardly heard it because you would come here and you would hear what the Bengali devotees had picked up from the Western devotees. All sorts of other things, which is mostly what you hear today from the Bengali kirtaniyas, although they can't quite do it. They sort of sometimes can't do it. They try these Western tunes and they don't quite get it right. So then they're neither here nor there. But anyway, you used to come here and then you'd hear it. Then it became like the only place you could hear the old traditional Gaudiya Kirtan was down the street at Gaudiya Math. And now it's becoming that even if you go there, you'll hear the kirtans that they're picking up here at Iskcon. So pretty soon there'll be nowhere left to go. Although I have to say that every time I've stopped by or passed by Prabhupada's Bhajan Kirtan, Bhajan Kutir, the kirtan is beautiful. Beautiful kirtan there. Simple, unpretentious, no one's putting on a show. Kartals, mridanga, little harmonium, and just beautiful. Simple, simple, simple. That's been I haven't gone there any time and been disappointed. So, like a special treasure spot in Mayapur. Yes.
this is not directly relating to the Aarti, but when somebody greets you as Hare Krishna, normally people also respond as Hari Bol, or even in Grihastha life, we often see that the husband calling, trying to attract the wife by calling Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Can you just throw some light on that? Is it something okay? Or?
Yes, Prabhupada, sometimes someone would, he would say Hari Bol to this person or that person, Hare Krishna, and he would say Hari Bol. Quite all right. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates were cleaning the Jagannath temple, they needed brooms, they needed bucket, jugs of water, they needed this, they needed that. And anyone who wanted anything, they would just chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, which means I need a bucket, or it means I need a broom, or it needs, I need more water. They would just chant the holy name. And Kaviraj Goswami says that with obvious appreciation. So it's kind of, for us, that's everything. It's hello, it's goodbye, it's everything in between. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. In Ayodhya, it's the custom in one important temple, I forget whether anyway, there's one temple, they distribute very nice prasadam. They're big rotis, and anyone can come and take prasadam. And our padayatra stopped there, we took prasadam. And their custom is that the servers go around and they're distributing, say, dal or rice or chapatis. So they'll say, chapati ram, dal ram, dal ram. So kirtaniya sadahari. Any other question at this point? Yes.
Maharaj, at different times the arti sang in a very different moods. Like in the morning it's very mellow, and then like maybe like Gaura arti be full of energy. But for the Cheyenne arti, how should the Cheyenne arti be sung? Should it be like a lullaby, or is it?
Well, Prabhupada said that the kirtan always should be sweet and melodious. Now that doesn't mean like a lullaby, but sweet and melodious. We hear, and it's on my list of items for tomorrow, that Prabhupada didn't like clanging and banging. He liked enthusiastic kirtan. It didn't have to be, put you to sleep kind of kirtan, but not clanging and banging. Sweet and melodious.